Good morning, Michelle Saxman here, and ready to share with you some time with Jesus Calling by Sarah Young on July the 14th. We can choose the path of life or the path of death, and the path of death is the one driven by the ego, leading us to despair, leading us to doubt, worry, blame, shame. But what I really appreciate about this one is he always says, or we're reminded to pray with positive expectations. And he says there are sparkling surprises just around the corner. So that is setting the intention to see those sparkling surprises, those hidden treasures, building that bouquet throughout the day. And he knows it's going to be difficult. It is going to be arduous. But that really just makes me think of the butterfly and the chrysalis and coming out of the cocoon, and how necessary it is in God's great design that as the caterpillar transformation is occurring, the butterfly is formed, it is exiting the cocoon. But you guys, there has to be this pressure applied in order for all the liquids and fluids to kind of disperse out of the abdomen and into the wings so that it can fly. So there has to be some of these difficulties, these external pressures. What is really important is that we're not putting on additional internal pressures, that we don't have the brain train spinning out, wasting energy. Again, the brain is only about 2% of the body's weight, but 20% of the body's energy. The center of the brain is where all of this neurochemistry, it's the trigger for the digestive hormones, the hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal. Anyway, all of this stuff is centered up here in the brain. So what we're thinking about, the music that we're listening to, the news that we're watching, all of that stuff feeds this inner peace. And again, I've mentioned before, we kind of have this default pathways, neurochemistry, of something that is familiar but not necessarily helpful. So if high stress and high anxiety is very familiar to us, that's going to be our default setting. And he's asking us this year to be fully transformed, to reset a new default setting, which is holding his hand, walking it out, being in a place of peace and light and love. So keep walking with me along the path that I have chosen for you. He doesn't want us to give up and lose hope because it's not as easy or as fast as we might like it. The path will be filled with difficulty. Sceneries will be dull. This is a fallen, broken, fractured planet. But if we know who our partner is, and we can trust that the shimmering, glittering, sparkling surprises are just around the corner. So the readings for today, the first one is Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up on the wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not be faint. So that is knowing who our partner is and our source of strength, and kind of surrendering some of the things that can actually drain our energy. So renewing, being with him. And again, even this, the Lord shall renew their strength. That is also taking on his yoke, laying down our burdens, taking on his yoke. Then the next reading is Psalm chapter 37, verse 23 and 24. If the Lord delights in a man's way, he makes his steps firm. Though he may stumble, he will not fall, for the Lord upholds him with his hand. And I'll just say that I think we like to think that if we're on the right path, it's going to unfold with ease and it's going to be quite quickly. But I will just say there's still going to be lessons and blessings along that path. But he absolutely gives us gut intuition and instinct to let us know which path he wants us on. He may stumble, but he will not fall. And you guys, let us please be defined by the rise and not by the fall. So then the final reading for today is Psalm chapter 16, verse 11. You will show me the path of life. In your presence is fullness of joy, and at your right hand are pleasures forevermore. So that's knowing who our partner is, and that he can fill us with joy and peace, path of pleasure, and even the path of life. And I will also ask you to think for a moment that if you're here today, then you have survived your absolute hardest days. Give yourself the grace the gratitude, the mercy, the fortitude. Allow yourself to see yourself the way he sees you, wrapped in a robe of righteousness. You are loved. You are love. Have a super blessed day. Stay connected to the vine, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.